everybody, JayC here, and I'm back at it with another live stream video, and I've got some news I want to talk with you guys about. Plus, we're going to be hitting up the review studio, so I got a new figure, a new Marvel Legend figure. I'll give you a little peek here. I'm going to be taking a look at the new Thunderstrike figure for our mini review today, so looking forward to that. But I got some news I wanted to share with you, some quick news, so I thought we would go over. And we'll start off with some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle news, and this is actually some news on the Playmates front. So this is a new box set that has gone up for pre-order on the Walmart website. So this is very similar to that set that they did at San Diego Comic-Con, where they had the turtles. They basically those retro original turtle toys that they had done back in the day at Toys R Us. They had re-released in a box set with the turtle van and everything. So now we're getting the turtles. These are based on these appearances are based on the original Mirage comics. So, and you get each figure is on an individual card back, the black and white type card back, again, paying tribute to like the Mirage comics and everything. And then, of course, once again, you do get that turtle van for the outer packaging. So this set is available for pre-order now on the Walmart website. It costs you $39.97. The release date is December 5th. So, if you're into turtles, you might want to check that one out. So let's see, what do we got here? Let's see. J Blue is in the house. J Blue 68, what's up, man? Shinobi 321, what's up? Fasi Book Me, woohoo, what's up, man? Welcome everybody. So this has been a new format that I've been testing out, experimenting with. Hopefully it will go fairly smoothly today without any bugs. But with the live stream where I'm mixing in news, or I'm mixing in some mini reviews and just taking questions from you guys all around. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. Try to keep these to about an hour. Don't have a specific time, but want to try and keep them to about an hour or so. But let me know what you guys think. I've been continuing to do the regular news videos as well. So even if you're not into the live stream, hopefully you guys are still being kept up to date. So let's move on to our next story that I wanted to go on and talk about with you guys today, and that is on the G.I. Joe front. So this is, I've talked about this before, but it's the new 3-0 Snake Eyes figure. So this figure is now available for pre-order. You can pre-order it at places like our sponsor Big Bad Toy Store, and the price is actually pretty decent. I'd said it was probably going to be around 150 to 200 bucks, and it's actually going for about $145. So, for this quality of figure, 3-0 figures, 12-inch and everything, this is kind of Hot Toys type quality here. So I think that's a pretty good price for what you're getting. Now this is it's been confirmed, this is just based on an artist's interpretation design of Snake Eyes. It's not like a movie design or anything. You get his mini Uzi, he comes with his 2 swords, he comes with a pistol, he's got a knife. So, they've loaded him up with quite a few weapons and everything. And sorry, Salome has joined us even though he can't see. But anyway, he's loaded up with quite a few weapons, and like I said, the price I think is pretty good at 140. So 145. So that I was thinking it was going to be closer to the $200 end of the spectrum. So, but if you're into GI Joe 12-inch Snake Eyes, this is probably one you're going to want to check out. Hey, Dante, what's up, man? Comics and gore. Need that Marvel Legends rug. We're actually going to be talking about that in just a bit here. Action figure expert. What's up, man? Sebastian. Yeah, please keep the news videos. The lives are cool, but the news are great. Yeah, I'll keep doing regular news videos, sprinkled through in. So, especially as I continue to, kind of work out the bugs and everything on the news end of things. But definitely we'll keep doing regular news videos along with these live streams. But I like the live streams just because I can talk about the news and then hear your guys' feedback, get your guys' input, what you think about it and everything. I try and go back and read comments and stuff, and I usually will at least read, but I often don't have time to respond to a lot of comments on just the regular videos. Especially when you've got videos that end up with like 100 or so comments, it's really hard to go through and respond to all of them. So this way, I just feel like I'm connecting more with you guys with the live stream and everything. So let's see. Dante, I would love to see a collection video from you. Yeah, I've done one before, but definitely we'll probably do one again. I did a picture tour of this area you're seeing behind me up on TNI a couple weeks ago, but I'll probably do a video tour at some point. It's just actually just my basement, so it's not that exciting, but I kind of fixed it up, so just give you a little mini tour. But yeah, I'll do a tour at some point. See, Jesse says live streams are hot. Yeah. And of course, there is the super chat feature, which I'm by no means, asking you guys to do, but it is there if you are so inclined, which will definitely get you meter. I try and read through a lot of the comments anyway, but if you want to make sure you get your comment read. Adam says, "What's up?" Build a figure display. I'm not sure what Braun is referring to. All right, well, let's move into our next news story. So next up, we've got, well, some Falcon and Winter Soldier news I wanted to share with you. I actually forgot to mention this in the last regular news video. Now, I do want to caution here that there are some minor spoilers with this news. So if you basically don't want any spoilers for the upcoming Disney Plus series, then you might want to come back in a few minutes. But we are going to talk a little bit about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So this week we got some reveals of some new mini mates that actually started hitting Walgreens stores. I want to say these were probably put out by accident. I don't think these were supposed to be released just yet. So yeah, I don't think, somebody found him. MCU Collector was the one that posted these images. Someone had sent them to him, but apparently these were actually found in a Walgreens store. And with it, it's two packs featuring Falcon, Baron Zemo, and then Winter Soldier. And then here's where the spoiler gets in, and it's not a big surprise. I think most of us who follow U.S. Agent are aware of this, was likely going to happen and even been rumored. But you can see here that the U.S. Agent figure is being listed as Captain America, which would indicate that in the series, at the end of Avengers Endgame, we see obviously Old Man Cap, Steve Rogers, give the shield over to Falcon, which would indicate, the indication would be that he would take over as Captain America, kind of like we saw in the comics. But it looks like maybe the government intervenes and strips Falcon of the Captain America shield and title and hands it over to John Walker, which, in the comics, it was actually Steve Rogers who got stripped and they gave it to Walker. But similar take on the story, I'm guessing. And with that, that explains why the U.S. Agent costume, we've seen some artwork and everything for that. And that kind of explains why his outfit is blue and not black, because this is his Captain America outfit. Now, I don't know. I'm assuming at some point he will become actual U.S. agent, but I don't know if they'll give him a totally different outfit or if they'll just change the color of this outfit to black. I mean, it's not like they handed him the Captain America outfit that we saw in the MCU movies, so they made up a new outfit and everything, but I don't know if they'll just turn this to black and call it U.S. Agent at that point. But it's definitely kind of cool that we're going to see that story. It was one of my favorite comic book stories, back in the day when John Walker took over as Captain America. U.S. Agent is actually one of my favorite characters, right up there with Captain America. He's changed a lot over the years, and it's depending on who's writing him. Sometimes he's a crazy loon, sometimes he's just an a-hole. But I'm definitely looking forward to seeing a U.S. Agent join the MCU with this new series. So, and definitely, interested to see what happens. Now, I know a lot of you are wondering more, you don't really care about mini mates. Marvel Legends, as far as I know of, there are definitely Disney Plus Marvel Legends coming at some point, and I'm pretty sure, similar to what we're seeing with these mini mates, you're going to see a similar lineup, at least from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I do expect, Falcon, Winter Soldier, U.S. Agent all to likely end up with Marvel Legend figures sometime next year. Not 100% confirmed, but I definitely have seen some indications that those are coming. Now, one other thing here, which is also a very minor spoiler, is Zemo. You can see here is featured in the mini mates, but he doesn't actually. On the packaging, he's got his mask on, but the actual mini mate, I don't know if there's like an alternate head there with the masked head, but and here on the back you can see he's featured with his mask, and we've seen some concept art for his mask last year when Disney Plus put up that documentary on the MCU. They showed off some concept art. So but beyond the mini mates, we're also getting our first look here at a Funko Pop figure based on Baron Zemo with his mask. So he's definitely in the series. Looks like he's going to get a more comic book look than what we saw in the Captain America Civil War movie. So I'm also looking forward to that. I really didn't like how they did a Zemo in the Civil War movie. It was probably my least favorite thing about the Civil War movie. So definitely glad to see that he's going to get another shot in the MCU, and looks like maybe more comic book accurate as well. So let's see. Bean says, always liked U.S. Agent, but that character had been through the ringer with really bad writing over the years. Eh, some yes and some no. I mean, his early stories, especially like when he first appeared in Captain America, I thought were great. When he joined the West Coast Avengers, I loved him there in the West Coast when he would butt heads with Hawkeye and everything. So I like that. Even Force Works, I didn't like that Force Works outfit that they gave him. That was probably my least favorite look that they've given him. So he's got a mini series coming up starting next month, which I definitely plan on checking out. Even though I don't read a lot of comics these days, I will check that out. He was in that Force Works. They did that Force Works mini series, which I thought was okay. It wasn't great. It had War Machine and Mockingbird and Salome. Everybody, she's joining us. Uh, War Machine, Mockingbird, and they also had Quake from Agents of Shield. She's in the comics now, and she was part of the team, so it was okay. It really didn't do much. So um, I don't know. And my biggest complaint with all comics is they're just too expensive these days. And the artwork I didn't think was super great either. So but I'm looking forward to see what they do with U.S. Agent in this new upcoming limited series that he's starring in. Looks like he's been now being stripped of his U.S. Agent title, according to the description of this upcoming limited series. They're taking away his costume, so he's making his own makeshift costume or something. Is what I kind of gathered from the description. So definitely be interested to see how that all goes. I really liked it. I wanted to see them, when he joined the Thunderbolts. I thought he would make a great leader for the Thunderbolts. I wish they had really kind of gone with that story. Had him take over the Thunderbolts, but they ended up cutting his leg off for a while and what have you. So I don't know. That was kind of weird. Aaron says I'm doing awesome work. Thanks, man. Poison Ivy. Thanks, man. Salome loves to pop in on these videos. She's looking for accessories to steal, so I gotta watch her. MK Solid says, yeah, Rogers being able to go toe to toe with Thanos and then aging like a human made no sense in Endgame. Well, yeah, I mean, he went back in time and then such, but yeah, I didn't. I mean, I didn't. It depends what they do with it. If they keep, if we never see a young Steve Rogers again, I'd be very disappointed. But the same thing with Iron Man. If they really keep him dead, I mean, I saw. I was watching on Netflix. David Letterman recently did an interview with Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Downey Jr. and that continued to say, he's not going to be back in the MCU. But I find that hard to believe that we won't end up seeing both him and Chris Evans return at some point. Maybe a little while. They may, keep them out for a while, but I think some point they will both end up returning. All right, so a lot of you keep asking about the Gambit and Rogue figure. So Instagrammer, YouTuber, Rectangular, who also had or said he had confirmed the Cyborg Spider-Man figure that I talked about in the last regular news video. If if you've been on Marvelous News or what have you, you've probably seen that. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in just a minute here. But he's also gotten some in-hand images for the new Rogue and Gambit retro figures. So I've thrown together some comparisons. So the one with the white background here, this is the Gambit figure. So the one here with the white background is the first, the regular Gambit that they released, and then the one here with the wood background is the new retro one. So just giving you some face comparisons here. You can see definitely like the hair is different. I kind of like the hair on the retro one better. Not a huge difference to me, but I do kind of like the hair on the retro one. And then I think the idea with this coat, with the light brown coat, is they were trying to go with the look of the original X-Men Toy Biz 5-inch Gambit figure. So, and I actually think they kind of did. I mean, it's the same coat as on the regular Gambit, only they lightened up the brown color. But for whatever reason, that light brown just really kind of captures that cheap coat that they had back on the original Toy Biz one. So if that's what they were going for, I think they actually did a good job with that. That thing was like a flimsy little piece of plastic. I don't know how many of you have that actual figure, but I actually have it right here. So it's almost like a paper like material. Um, so I don't know. It was definitely different for the time, but I feel like that's really what they were going for with that coat in the light brown color. Now with the Rogue, I've been seeing a lot of debate on whether which face sculpt is better on this new retro figure or on the original Jim Lee one that they did. So I did a comparison. Gotta get to it. I did a comparison of it, and I definitely. So again, the retro one is the one with the brown background, and the regular or the original one is the white background. So you can see here, while I think this retro head sculpt looks much better than what we saw in the initial images that they showed back during PulseCon. I've got to say, if I had to choose one or the other, I would go with the original one. I think it just looks better overall. Not that the retro one looks bad. I like the look of the original one better. Now you can see the yellows are much brighter as well on the retro one, so that's a little bit different. And if you missed out on either of the Gambit or the Rogue, the original one, I think these will be nice gets, assuming you can find them. Of course, they are Target exclusives. We don't have a specific release date on these. Hasbro is saying December, but I suspect we'll start seeing them next month in November. And who knows when they'll put them up online. And of course, I'm sure the scalper bots will grab them at least initially really quick online. So now, as I said, Rectangular, somebody sent Rectangular these images. I believe these figures, they look to me, I'm speculating, but these look like something that slipped out from maybe the factories overseas. And apparently the same person that has these retro figures are the same one that had the Cyborg Spider-Man. So there's been a lot of question about whether this is a custom or not. Rectangular has claimed that it's legit, and if it's from the same source, if it's somebody getting these figures, from overseas, then I would probably agree that the Spider-Man figure is definitely real and it's not a custom. So if that's one that you're excited about, then then I think it's definitely going to be coming. Now, as to how it's going to be released, I mean, Rectangular says Hasbro Pulse, and if this did come out, from overseas, I'm not sure how reliable that person's information is going to be on how it's actually released here in the United States. However, I will say, as I talked about in the news video, the regular news video the other day, I have managed to confirm at least that this is not going to be, if it's real, it's not a regular release, nor is it even just a fan channel exclusive. So that means if it is real, it's got to be an actual specific store exclusive. And it's being that we haven't seen this pop up in any big box retailer computer listings up until this point, Hasbro Pulse makes the most sense to me, that that's how it would be released, because obviously Hasbro's not giving people access to their computer systems like we see with Target and Walmart and Walgreens and all the other big box retailers. So the fact that we haven't seen this figure listed anywhere does probably lend itself to the fact that it will be a Hasbro Pulse exclusive. And when it goes up, becomes available. Originally, Rectangular said it was going to be Friday. That didn't happen, obviously, so he changed it and said soon, but I don't know what soon means. So it could be as early as Monday. It could be the next, first Monday of the month reveal type thing. I really don't know. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see. But I at this point I feel pretty confident this is a real figure that is coming. It is based on the '90s version. Eric Larson, drew this. He wrote the story with this version of Spider-Man. You can see the cover here with Deathlock. So it's kind of an Eric Larson inspired, I call it an Eric Larson inspired Spider-Man, even with like the spider symbol on his chest and everything. It definitely has that Eric Larson feel to it. So, and I probably, this isn't a favorite of mine, so I could easily pass on this one. But I've seen quite a few of you indicate that you do like this version. So, I think it's kind of probably cool that Hasbro did it and everything. Let's see. Bean says Friday was when the Triceratons. Yeah, I'm gonna get to that in a minute. MK Solid. Who agrees that the next actress to play Rogue needs to be the hottest babe ever? There should they should go all the way. I don't know what all the way means, but I'm sure whoever it is, she'll be decent. CM Brock says he's going to pass. I'm assuming on this Cyborg Spider-Man. Well, I think those web pieces are the same ones we've seen in the line before, so they're not like bendy wire, if that's what you mean. Let's see. Jason says, don't have Rogue in my collection, so I need this one. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people missed out on the first Rogue, so definitely, if you missed out, I think she looks pretty good. And those are probably, the brighter yellow I would say is probably more cartoon accurate than the more kind of mustard yellow. The more mustard yellow I think was more, if I remember correctly, more comic book accurate. So I would almost call the retro one animated series, which is what those original X-Men 5-inch figures were essentially supposed to be based on. So. Hey, thanks for. All right, well, so that's my Marvel news of the day for you guys. And again, as far as official release date Hasbro says for those retro figures is December, but I would say that November. I mean, maybe not widely. Things start to kind of slowly see release. We may even see it. I mean, here in the U.S., it's a Target. These are Target exclusives, but overseas, these might be a more general release. So we may even see these start to hit somewhere overseas before we even see them here in the U.S. And then will Target, I don't know if Target will put these up for pre-order at some point before they actually are available for purchase. I mean, don't even know for sure they'll put them on their website. I assume they will, but you know, a lot of times nowadays they put them up for pre-order. Of course, again, they sell out real quick due to this the scalper bots, but we'll have to see. And but I suspect we'll start seeing them in some fashion before sometime next month in November. All right, so like I said, heading over to the review station now. So this is something I've hopefully will go smoothly. This has probably been the trickiest thing to get set up with these live streams. But last time I had problems with the camera, so we didn't even get it. But I got just today in the mail, came from Amazon, my Thunderstrike figure, which is probably the figure in this wave, this Mr. Fix-It wave that I've been looking most forward to. The other figures that I got from there, the Falcon, the Jacosta, and the Krang have not yet shipped. I guess they're going to be here maybe next week, but Thunderstrike, for whatever reason, started shipping early. So I love Thunderstrike. Eric Masterson, you know, he became Thor for a little while, and I'd love to see Hasbro do an actual Eric Masterson Thor with like the armored helmet that he would wear. You know, had the little eyepiece over the helmet and everything. So I would love that. I'd also love to see just a full-on armored Thor. You know, back then, when actual Thor ended up, you know, he got really badly injured, so he had to start wearing an armor so that his body wouldn't like fall apart. So uh, that version of Thor would be cool to see in Marvel Legend form as well. But with the Thunderstrike, the only thing I think this has actually turned out to be a really good figure. The joints are actually very sturdy on this one, so I'm glad to see I didn't end up with like rubbery joints like I did with the Rage figure. Even though that was a bigger character, those joints were really bad on Rage. But with this one, the joints are nice and sturdy, so I'm liking that. The only thing I don't really like about this figure is I don't like the screaming head sculpt. I mean, it's okay for certain poses, and if it was like an alternate head, I wouldn't mind it. But being he's stuck in the screaming pose, it's kind of annoying. So I would have rather we gotten just a more neutral, maybe a little angry looking, but not the mouth being quite so wide open. It looks fun. There's so very few poses you can put him in where this wide open mouth look is decent. So you know, unless they're going to give us multiple heads, I think they should not do expressions quite like this on a figure. But otherwise, you know, I think it's a solid figure. Paint applications are pretty good. I've got a little bit of, you know, you can see some of the skin tone fading into the blue here on his shoulders. Not major, but that's really it. You've got the coat, which is a separate piece. I like the metallic blue on his circles, and those are sculpted. I think this chest piece is, I think, maybe the same as the Thor. Obviously, the shoulder pieces are different, but maybe not. No, actually, I guess they are new. Yeah, they are different, so strike that. But these are sculpted, and I do like the metallic blue and everything. You know, he's got his hammer, his unique hammer, which is nice. He can only hold it, though, in the right hand. They gave him an extra left hand, but they gave him this grip hand so it can look like he's gripping somebody's throat or something. And then they gave him a closed fist so he could punch something, but he can only hold the hammer in the right hand. And the coat does come off. If you want to take it off, you can. The belt's a separate piece. So, like I said, it's one of my favorite characters from the 90s. I was disappointed when they killed him off. I think his son, if I'm not mistaken, ended up taking over as Thunderstrike for a while. Maybe even still is, I don't know. But, and back then it was kind of, we had, we got our duplicates of the main three, Iron Man, U.S. Agent, or Captain America, U.S. Agent, Iron Man, War Machine, and Thor with Thunderstrike. So these were kind of like the new guys they brought in for the 90s, and they didn't really do as much. They didn't really, I mean, each one of these, Rhodes was Iron Man for a long while. Was the first one to kind of take over when Iron Man had to basically retire due to alcoholism for a while. And then John Walker became Captain America thanks to the government, as I talked about before. And then Masterson, who idolized Thor, got to be Thor for a little while, and then because he did such a, he was such a stand-up guy, they gave him his own hammer, and he was able to become Thunderstrike. So these are, we definitely need a new U.S. agent figure. This Bucky Cap mold is just too small for John Walker. He just looks too puny. I mean, he shouldn't be as big as Thunderstrike or even War Machine, but he should definitely be bigger. If they gave us the Cap Wolf mold or one of their bigger mid-size molds for U.S. Agent, I think that would work well. But this Bucky Cap mold is just too small for Walker. This is really more in keeping with Steve Rogers, the captain. When he wore this outfit as the captain, than his actual John Walker U.S. Agent. So. I definitely hope Hasbro gives us an updated comic book version of U.S. Agent in the near future. Now we've got, here's the Thor, the recent Thor, and Thor is taller, which I think, if I remember correctly, is about accurate. So, but I highly recommend this figure, even though, again, I don't like this open mouth. But otherwise, I think this is a great figure. Thunderstrike's a great character. It's about to, this is the first time we've gotten Thunderstrike in the 6-inch Marvel Legend line. Toy Biz never did him. We did get a Marvel Universe version, but again, we've never gotten an actual 6-inch version. So I'm really happy that Hasbro, when they announced it, just a few weeks ago, that was actually, coming, because I've been wanting a Thunderstrike for some time. All right, so I'd love to hear. Let's see. Sorry, I couldn't when I was down there looking at the figure. I couldn't read your guys' comments. So let me go back here see what your guys' thoughts on Thunderstrike are. This figure is all been showing up at stores for a couple weeks now. I mean, this wave hit incredibly fast. Literally, like a week after Hasbro announced it, it started hitting shelves. Gamesgo says the 80th Thor is the best Thor they've done to date. I agree. As far as Thor goes, that is a very solid Thor figure. Um, I just, I mean, classic. You can't go wrong with classic Thor, but at the same time, I really like some of the more updated Thor looks, especially from the 90s. So I hope Hasbro does, you know, roll out some more Thor. Like I said, Armored Thor, Eric Masterson as Thor. Those are figures I would love to see in the actual Marvel Legends line. Can you Phantom Ghost asks if I can switch out Thunderstrike's and Thor's head? Sure. So I'll do it live on camera. I haven't actually tried it, but I assume they're interchangeable. Except the coat sticks up a little bit. This is it's a rubber piece, so you probably actually need to take the coat off if you with Thor's long hair. I'm just gonna pull the coat back, but see, it does fit on there. And then you want to put Masterson's head on the Thor body. That works. Now again, when Masterson was actually Thor, he didn't have the ponytail and he had the helmet, the armored helmet. So this isn't really an accurate representation of Masterson as Thor, but the heads are interchangeable on both of those figures. Let's see what else. Oh, is this supposed to be the sun? I didn't look. I didn't look that closely. I I have not really read the stories of the sun as Thunderstrike, so I'm not. I mean, Did they look exactly the same? Um, because this looks just like the original Thunderstrike. So, regardless of what they say in the bio, I don't think it really matters. To me, this is the original Thunderstrike, but if they looked exactly the same, then Jermaine from Colombia, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Valerie says they really hate Marvel. Sorry to hear that. Jerry says he doesn't switch heads because it loosens them sometimes. I haven't really found it unless the only time it loosens a head is if sometimes you have the ball is a little bit bigger than the hole of the head you're switching to, and then you like force it, then it stretches out the hole a little bit, and so that can cause looseness. But if it's the same size hole, I don't think it should really affect that in any way. And these seem to be pretty much the same. So Phantom Ghost wants a screaming Thor face. Okay. Again, the screaming face, if it's an alternate head, if you're getting a figure with like two head sculpts and this is an alternate head, I think it's fine, but I don't like this kind of face. It's just too, you know, it's made for like one just a few certain poses, and then it looks stupid. He's just standing there screaming. It looks like Gemini 605 asks if there's any GI Joe news. So for today, the only thing new I had for you is about the 12-inch Snake Eyes figure, which is available for pre-order. There are some new code name listings, I believe, that have turned up on the internet, but they're code names, so we don't really know what they are. More indications that there's a movie line coming, probably for the kids, but nothing major on the GI Joe front. The biggest news this week on G.I. Joe was the whole thing with Sergeant Slaughter, which I talked about in the last news video. So, not a guarantee that we're getting Sergeant Slaughter, but it looked like Slaughter was meeting with Hasbro this week. So, and the most logical thing that they'd be talking about is doing a new figure, probably for the 6-inch line. Whether they actually come to terms, agreement, Slaughter may want too much money or something, who knows. But I think there's at least a decent possibility we'll end up getting a 6-inch classified Sergeant Slaughter figure at some point down the road. Being if they're just now meeting, assuming everything went forward and they came to terms and everything, being they're just now meeting about it would likely indicate that it'd be a while, probably a year or so before we actually saw it. And of course, the Valverse Action Force Sergeant Slaughter is coming as well, which is a 6-inch figure. So even if Hasbro doesn't do an official GI Joe one, you'll still be able to get what looks to be a pretty good 6-inch GI Joe Sergeant Slaughter figure that will go with your GI Joe figures. Hey, Elvin from Puerto Rico, welcome. Thanks for tuning in. Usual Mike, hey man, what's up? Usual Mike, always hitting it with the Star Wars news. Speaking of Star Wars, looks like tomorrow is the official kickoff of Mando Monday. So we should be getting some decent Star Wars reveals tomorrow from Hasbro and other companies as well. But we definitely should be getting, and I think it's mostly going to be Mandalorian related stuff. So, and of course, the Mandalorian first episode of season 2 of The Mandalorian will be premiering this week on the 30th. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. Phantom Ghost is going to pose as Thor coming down with his hammer and some lightning effects, beating the crap out of the Hulk. The Valorverse? Let me check for you. I'm doing a quick, because I don't know off the top of my head when that figure, what the release date was on. So Big Bad Toy Store, and I'll actually flip you over there. They have it listed with a March of next year release date. So this thing looks pretty good if you ask me. I mean, I pre-ordered it. I'm not really collecting the Action Force stuff, but I did end up pre-ordering this figure. Um, I think they did a pretty good job with it. I think it'll be interesting to see if, and now if those of you not familiar with this company, the guy who runs this company actually used to work at Hasbro, worked on the GI Joe line, also worked on Marvel Legends. So he's familiar with how Hasbro works and everything. But it'll be interesting to see who actually ends up doing the best figure. Sorry, lost my cursor. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how who does, assuming Hasbro does do an official GI Joe Sergeant Slaughter. It'll be interesting to see how who does it better. Bean says he backed the Action Force and added this immediately. Yeah, I mean, I pre-ordered it straight through Big Bad Toy Store, just the Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, not that the other figures don't look good, but I definitely wanted the Slaughter for my Joe collection, so that's why I got that one. And even if it comes out that Hasbro, say announces here in the near future before March, they announce an official Sergeant Slaughter figure coming, I'd still go on and keep this one. I mean, I suspect there would be people who would cancel their pre-orders for the Action Force version because they'd want the official GI Joe, and I'm sure there'll be something, a GI Joe logo or something on, if Hasbro does do one. I'm sure it'll have like a logo of GI Joe on his shirt or something like that. But I'll keep this one even and get it even if Hasbro ends up doing a regular one. I'll get the Hasbro one too, but I would keep this one. But I suspect, you know, I have a feeling that he wasn't expecting Hasbro, and again, this isn't confirmed. I'm not saying they're definitely doing it, but I suspect that he was a little caught surprised this week when he found out that Slaughter was meeting with Hasbro. Um, I could be wrong, but I'm not sure. Just seeing some of his responses online and stuff, it just seemed like he was maybe caught a little bit surprised. And I mean, I would say this. Obviously, he has a small company. Valorverse is not a huge action figure company. He's just starting out, very small. This figure, getting Slaughter's likeness probably was not cheap. Um, so that was probably a hefty expense that he took on. And while it's an Action Force figure, he did it because Joe fans would get it for their GI Joe collection. I mean, that's the appeal. Even if you're not collecting any of the other Action Force figures, you're going to get this figure for GI Joe. He even shows pictures of him fighting, like I've seen him post pictures of it fighting Cobra Commander and stuff. So, but I also feel like, especially since he worked at Hasbro before, he knows how Hasbro works. If he wasn't able to lock in Slaughter into like an exclusive contract, and I doubt he would have enough money to do that, but he can't be surprised. He shouldn't be, or I should say he shouldn't be surprised if Hasbro is pursuing doing their own version. It might screw him a bit, but it's business in the world of business, and if Hasbro sees there's demand for a 6-inch Sergeant Slaughter and they can get Slaughter's get him to do the figure at a reasonable cost, Hasbro's going to do it. Let's see. Blake says, "How about a few wasps with different outfits, most notably the green and purple one?" Well, what have we gotten? We've gotten a couple wasps already, but I wouldn't be surprised if down the road we see more wasp figure released in some way. I assume you're talking about comics, not the movie. Phantom Ghost, Marvel Legends. I want is all comic verse. Golden Armor, Odin, Planet Hulk, Classic Hulk Buster, and a Blob. Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing all of those. I definitely would love to. I missed out on the first Hasbro Blob. I got some of the pieces of that but I didn't get all the figures in that wave, so I don't have a complete Blob build a figure. It actually looks pretty good. I may end up just buying the remaining pieces I need off of eBay or something and finish that one. Especially if we get like a new updated Toad figure. That's really one that we need is for Hasbro to do as far as like X-Men Brotherhood of Evil Mutants is a new Toad figure. Phantom Ghost also wants Thor. I not a huge fan of the Thor Buster armor. Hulk Buster was a cool one, but I didn't really like the. I mean, it was okay, but Toy Biz did one, which I have, but I can't say I'm like dying for Hasbro to do a Thor Buster armor. CB Hunt says, "What's up? How's your weekend? Pretty good. Hope yours is going good." Frankie V, have you seen the Cyber Frog prototype figures? Heather Swan and the Alien Wasp. No, I don't think I've seen those. Bean still waiting for Hasbro to do a Marvel 2099 wave. I wouldn't mind seeing, I mean, I don't know if a whole wave, but I would definitely love to see Doom. I'd love to see a 2099 Doom. Maybe Punisher 2099. We've gotten Spider-Man, so we don't need another Spider-Man. But I wouldn't mind seeing some of those original 2099 characters done in figures, beyond just Spider-Man. But I don't think I'd want an entire just solid wave of 2099 characters. Mix them in with, some of the, Avengers or Fantastic Four or what have you. Everett asks, do I think NECA Toys will do action figures for Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin? Probably. Well, that's the IDW's comic, right? Um, they did, if you caught that Fush interview that Randy did, he did mention, looking to do, some of the Mirage stuff, but maybe even brand. I think if I remember correctly, he said, they might even branch out into, other more modern comic stuff, or at least he would like to do that. So I think it's a possibility, but we'll have to wait. It probably wouldn't be in the immediate future, maybe a couple years down the road. I think they'll probably start with Mirage stuff, and I think they'll switch. I think the idea sounded like that these would be sold through the specialty market along with the video game figures, and that they would do like a wave of video game figures and then a wave of comic book figures and then a wave of video game figures. So I suspect they'll start with Mirage. If they do in fact do that, I suspect they'll start with the Mirage stuff, maybe even reissue some of the stuff that they had done previously, and then go from there. But I think that could be a possibility down the road. And speaking of NECA and Turtles, so this week we were supposed to get up for pre-order the Roadkill Rodney 2-pack and the Triceraton, which has been hitting physical stores. However, not my physical store. I went to my Target. I went to two Targets yesterday and a Walmart. Obviously, I wouldn't find the Target figures at Walmart, but I hit two Targets yesterday morning, and not a single goddamn turtle product was found on the shelf. Back to the Future figures were there. Those Marty figures are not too hard to find. Both of my Targets had those, and they've had them for well over a week. But not one turtle figure was found on the shelves. I could find on the shelves. Either no movie stuff at Walmart and nothing at Target. And I wasn't surprised in the slightest. I was not expecting to find anything. This is generally when I go into my Target, this is what I find. I find a bunch of Godzilla figures. I find some recently the Back to the Future stuff, Gremlins. I've seen the Halloween, like the Halloween 3 set, I've seen a couple different times, but not one time have I come in there to find turtles. And what really annoys me is like this, where, they've got like, look at all those Gremlin figures. Now, this is Walmart, but I've seen that figure at Target too. Why are they, if they stock the turtles like this, I don't, if every Target carried anywhere close to this much in the turtle stuff, I don't think the figures would be that hard to find. They might not stay on the shelf like these Gremlins do. These Gremlins figures have been sitting there for a couple weeks now, and I don't really expect them to move a whole lot. But I don't understand who, let's order 20 Gremlin figures and then let's just order 2 turtle figures. I mean, and that's, I'm sure there are Gremlin fans out there. I'm not doubting that, but I don't think there's enough Gremlin figures to support this many figures in one area. So it astounds me that this is what they choose to stock in huge numbers. Again, you can see the Gremlins here. This is Target. You can see the Gremlins are there in full force. Godzilla, tons of Godzilla, but aliens, but this is Target, so there's that Gremlins figure again. No turtle stuff though. No turtles. And while these stores I'm sure have gotten some, I think 2 at a time. Now I did see an image that was floating around online where somebody took from a Target that did have for the Roadkill Rodney 2-pack had like 3 or 4, which is an improvement. Actually, I think it was maybe even 5. I saw this Destro. This was at my Walmart yesterday, and they had this one Destro figure. And I've seen these figures. I mean, they don't warm the pegs in any way, but I've seen the Wave 1 of G.I. Joe Classified a few different times on shelves, and I haven't been actively out looking for them, but I have come across them, especially more so at Walmart than Target. And I was surprised to see the Destro figure there. It was the only one. And of course, about the GI Joe, even though they're not readily available, it's not like you can go into any Walmart or Target and have a decent expectation of finding the GI Joe. But for the regular release of the GI Joe, you can go online and you can order this figure or any of the Wave 1 figures at cost at places like Big Bad Toy Store. Even the Army Builder stuff you can get at cost. You may have to wait a little bit longer, but you can get these figures at cost. Whereas, like, obviously the Target exclusive stuff, that's a different story. Um, but with the regular release stuff, you can actually get them if you want at cost and not have to pay an arm and a leg on the secondary market. This is Walmart again. These are those little miniature GI Joe figures from Jada Toys. Those seem to be hitting shelves in full force, and they also you can see there in the corner. That was the first time I saw any of the retro figures at Walmart. It was the Storm Shadow. It was the only one they had. I didn't get it, but they did have the retro Storm Shadow. It was the first time I'd seen that. But you know, it just amazes me how, with some of this stuff, you know, when I see this, all these Gremlin figures, and yet they can't stock the turtle stuff, that just really annoys the crap out of me. And it's like, okay, if you don't think turtles sell well, okay, but how could you not think the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles aren't going to sell well, but you think Gremlins are going to sell well? I mean, that just, I don't know who's making these decisions, but whoever it is, they should be fired. I mean, just quite frankly, they should be fired because, like I said, I can guarantee you these figures are not going to move, other than maybe a couple. Uh, these figures are going to sit there for weeks and months, but not a single Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle product in sight. And alien, you can see they've stocked a ton of the alien figures too, which again have been sitting there for a long time, but not a damn Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle product. So while I give NECA some credit for making improvements, I still think that they have a lot of work to do on the turtle front. If they really, this line is still very frustrating to collect. Now, getting back to that uh, Triceraton and Roadkill Rodney 2-pack. So this was supposed to go up be available for purchase on the Target website this week. We got multiple dates. I think had gotten like 4 different dates of when it was supposed to go up, and as far as I know of, it is yet to go up. It's listed on the Target website, but I have not seen any indication that at any time on any of the days that NECA has said, and the most recent was supposed to be yesterday on Friday, that this set has been made available on the Target website for purchase. So I don't know what's going on with this set as far as online purchases. I don't know, I'm sure it'll be whatever time I happen to walk away from the computer from any significant time, or not near an electronic device. That's when it'll probably become available for purchase. That's how it's been with all the other sets. But it's kind of annoying, especially if you hear these dates and then you sit around all day waiting for it to go online so you can try and grab it, and then not for it to go up. I mean, that's just really frustrating. Adding frustration on top of frustration, essentially. And I know NECA says that they don't have control over this. They can't make Target put these up. It's really up to Target. But I've said this before. If Target's going to give a date, if they're going to say it's going to go up on this Monday, then there should be some pressure applied to Target to say, look, you need to, if we're going to let people know that it's going to go up on this day, you've got to make a concerted effort to put it up there. And like I said, we've had like 4 different days now where it was supposed to be available, 3 or 4 different days, and as far as I know of, it's yet to go up. So I think that's just absurd ridiculousness. I'm sure it's more of Target than NECA. NECA, again, I do believe them when they say they have really no control over when Target decides to list these. But I don't know. I don't know what the solution is, but it's definitely frustrating. Ricky says horror Godzilla, but no Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Well, I don't know if you're saying for you or for me, but yeah, for me, I mean, I've those Godzilla figures, even like the Target exclusive ones, I've seen multiple times at my Target stores. I totally acknowledge that the area I live in is one of the worst areas in the country for toys. There are definitely areas out there that are better than others. There are certain areas in the country, like out in California, Florida, I think is usually places that are near the ports, things like that. Those places tend to generally be better stocked for stuff than other places. And I happen to live, I call it the Bermuda Triangle of action figures, because there's like this force barrier in this general area that I live in that just seems to keep new toys out. It doesn't matter what company it is or what have you, but so I live in one of the worst areas in the country, I think, for finding stuff at physical stores. So I do acknowledge that that's why when I say if I find something at my store, then it must not be that difficult to find, because it doesn't get much worse than my area. But I think there's still plenty of areas in the country that are very much, as far as the turtle stuff goes, where they're not finding it. I acknowledge that there are some areas that are getting more stock in, which is great, but I think it's still much, there are far more Target stores out there not getting large stock of the turtle stuff than there are stores that are. So let's see. MK Solid, do I think NECA will make Hammer Horror 8-inch or retro cloth? Just, I mean, quite possibly they could do both, but I feel like that line, well, I don't know. I would say off the top of my head, that line is probably more fitting for the 8-inch cloth stuff. But also keep in mind that another company, Mego, has also got that license, and Mego only does those cloth outfit type figures. So if NECA goes that route with their retro 8-inch figures with the cloth outfits, that means two companies are going to be doing almost the exact same figures. So because Mego has the license as well, that actually makes me think that maybe NECA will do the 7-inch Ultimate figures for that line, as opposed to, I mean, again, they might do both, but because they don't want to just essentially put out the exact same product that Mego is putting out. They may end up going the 7-inch Ultimate route with those figures. If it wasn't for that, though, I would say probably would be the 8-inch figures. IE says California gets things early, but it's hard as heck to get it if they don't stock enough for the huge demand. I understand, and I mean there are guys who seemingly hit the store daily. I don't know how they do that. I don't know what kind of job or life allows them to basically go to the stores on a daily basis. I know I don't have time to do that. Um, but I definitely, if you go online, you can see these guys who literally are hitting up these stores on a daily basis. So, and those generally are the ones that you tend to see are finding the stuff. So, or they've like learned the shipping schedule for the stores, or they've made friends with people who let them know when stuff come in stock or stuff. But again, I mean, I think most of us just we don't have time for that kind of thing. So, that more power to you if that's what you're doing to find the stuff, but it's not really an open solution for most of us. And I agree, a lot of the problem is distribution. I was talking to somebody on Facebook who was saying how, like, how the GI Joe figures are so popular, and to a certain extent they are. But I think it's a matter of perspective because, like, I've seen the first wave of GI Joe figure. I found that Destro. I saw that Destro yesterday at my Walmart store, and obviously, I'm sure if I went back to Walmart today, that Destro would be gone. But the fact that I've seen them a few times says to me that are the GI Joe figures really that hugely popular? And I'm not saying they're not popular. They definitely are. I mean, when we run a story about the GI Joe classified story, these days it's actually one of our more popular stories that we run. There's definitely a lot of interest in the line, but there's also the question of if the stores really started stocking those GI Joe figures in large numbers, as opposed to just like one case at a time, one or two cases at a time, I don't. I think those figures, a lot of those figures, would be starting to, sit on the shelves a lot longer than what we're seeing. So, sometimes there's this perception that something is in huge demand, mainly just because the stores aren't stocking it in huge numbers, and so what is being put out there, of course, is selling. But if the store really started to stock it in large numbers, then that really begs the question: would it really be selling in large numbers? And I think they're if you're being fair, there might be something to say that something like the GI Joe wouldn't sell in that huge a number, which is why those retailers are choosing not to carry them in huge numbers. It's frustrating for those of us who do want them, but from a business standpoint, if you're a retailer, you don't want to be stuck with a lot of unsold merchandise. I mean, obviously the big box retailers can handle it a lot better than the small guy, but um, and again, I do think GI Joe has been very successful for the most part, but especially without the movie and stuff. And I think that's why the retailers are not stocking the GI Joe stuff in huge numbers because they're waiting for the movie to come. Um, the retailers want something pushing the product line when they stock it in heavy numbers on their shelves, so they want that movie. And so same thing with the Ghostbusters, same thing, when these movies are being delayed, that means the retailers are probably, and this, I can't say 100%, but the retailers are probably saying we really don't want a ton of new GI Joe product until we get closer to that movie being released. And then, of course, if the movie bombs, then the retailers are probably not going to want to restock or carry more stuff or what have you. So Trevor McGuire says, I heard they're in store only. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about. I missed the initial comment. Obviously, Dr. 5000 asked a question, but sorry, I missed the question. MK Solid says, sucks you can't just walk into Target or Walmart and just check out these toys. Well, I mean, Toys R Us went out of business because they didn't stock a lot of these toys very well. But yes, I agree. It would be great if we could just walk into the store, whether it's Target, whether it's Walmart, if we could just walk into those stores and have a reasonable expectation of finding the figures that we're looking for. But I don't think in today's market, I don't think that's very practical. That's why, you know, when you complain about G.I. Joe, my response to you is, not counting the Target exclusives, you can get those G.I. Joe figures. You just need to quit trying to find them at Walmart and Target and go to online and just pre-order them. You might have to wait a little longer, but you'll be sure of getting them, and they will be at cost. And they are readily available for purchase that way. I saw somebody, and I'm not going to call them out by name. It sounded like I had never seen it before, but it popped up on my wall, and they made a video where they were complaining about not being able to get the new retro Spider-Man figure, the new molded Spider-Man figure that Hasbro released this year. And I agree that that figure is not, that's one of the, out of the retro line, that's the hardest figure to get. I've seen most of the those Spider-Man retro figures on pegs. I've only seen the Spider-Man once at my Walmart, which I actually got that figure from there. But I know you can go online and you can purchase it without any problem. So you don't need to resort to the secondary scalper prices on that figure if you really want it. You may have to wait a little bit longer, but it is definitely readily available for you at cost. So I think people, I wish it wasn't that way, but I think people need to get out of the mindset of trying to find so many of these figures at the physical stores. I mean, if you want to play the game of going to the store every day, if you find that fun, if you're just so much into the hunt or what have you, then more power to you. But if you're not, then I think what you need to do is quit trying to find them at the big box stores and just pre-order them. And don't worry about whether you're the first person to get them or not, unless you're like some type of big time toy reviewer or something. I don't think it really matters whether you're the first one or not to get it. So don't worry about if you see people start getting a figure before you do. It's not that big a deal. But pre-order it, save yourself the hassle, buy it at cost, don't support scalpers. If people quit buying from scalpers, the scalpers will go out of business. Just like any business, if there's nobody there to support them, meaning paying their prices. Scalpers like to use that argument that it's a free open market and capitalism and all that, and to a certain extent they are right. And so the best way to really counteract that is to quit buying from them. Be patient, pre-order at cost, get it when it comes, and over time I think things would improve because the scalpers would quit buying up stuff so much, and then things would maybe open up a little bit. But it's really going to take a concerted effort from the collector, all the collectors out there, and that's the big ask, is getting everybody on the same page and to quit supporting the scalpers. But as long as there are people, I say this all the time, as long as there are people who are willing to pay the high prices, there will always be somebody there to scalp it. They will always find a way, workarounds from whatever measures are put in place to try and prevent them from buying it. They will find a way to get it and to scalp it. And the only way to really stop it is to just quit buying from them. If they can't sell it for a high price, if they can't make a profit off of it, they will quit doing it. And that's just as simple as it's ever going to get. The toy companies are not going to fix the scalper problem, no matter what. I wish they would. I wish they would just start distributing the stuff in huge numbers, so much so that the pegs were flooded with everything we wanted. But in today's market, it's just not going to happen on any kind of regular basis. So I think you guys have to, if you want to keep collecting and save yourself the frustration, you're going to have to start adapting to things like purchasing online and stuff like that. All right, enough ranting about that. Let's see. Venom Cap is in stores. Still haven't gotten a ship notice. Yeah, Walmart's been a lot of stuff. I'm still waiting on the Clone War figures that I pre-ordered. Those are hitting store shelves as well, though, of course, not at my Walmart, but I'm waiting for those to ship. I didn't get the Venom Cap. Those Venomized figures just don't do much for me, so I passed on that one totally. So I'll probably see that one on shelves at some point, but Dr. 5000 says, honestly, if I can't get the Rogue and Gambit through the Target website, I'm going to go to eBay, unfortunately. Well, I mean, that's your choice. I would say give it time. So, like, look at the Storm and Thunderbird 2 pack. Last time I checked, has been last week or so, has been pretty readily available online on the Target website. Now, when it first went up, the pre-order sold out instantly, and then when it first came in stock, it sold out, and you had to keep checking it. But given time, it is now fairly easily attainable at cost from like Target. They did end up stocking that, and hopefully the Rogue and Gambit will be the same way, but probably not initially. If they do put those figures up for pre-order, those will probably sell out instantly, and then the initial times that they put them up, they probably will sell out very quickly. So, if you're going to resort to eBay, at least give it enough time to make sure that you know that it's not going to become more readily available. That's at least all I would say. I understand the frustration of not being able to get something that you really want and saying, screw it, I'm just going to go to eBay. It's easier. In the long run, I'm saving myself money. I may pay double the price, but when you factor in all the amount of gas I spend running around all the stores and time and energy, I get that argument as well. I've been there myself. But I would say at least give it long enough before you give into like the scalpers. Give it long enough to make sure that, because a lot of times the stuff starts to seep out in small numbers, and then as time goes on, it gets more and more. So like with the Storm and the Thunderbird 2 pack, I'm hopeful that the Rogue and Gambit figures will be the same way. And honestly, to Hasbro's credit, the Marvel Legends stuff, there's a few rare exceptions, but most of the Marvel Legends stuff, if you give it enough time, even the exclusive stuff has been fairly readily available to get. Again, you may have to wait a little bit longer. And I know when you start seeing everybody start posting their pictures of their finds and all that stuff, it gets frustrating and stuff. Again, I've been there. But if you really look at the Marvel Legends, if you give it time, most of that stuff has been eventually made fairly readily available. So some of it takes longer than others, and there are a few rare exceptions. But for the most part, I think Hasbro's actually done a pretty decent job with the Marvel Legends line. Can't say the same thing about like the G.I. Joe with the Target exclusives. I mean, those have been a horrible experience. Again, the regular Joes you can get without too much problem, but those Target exclusive Joes, have not been easy to get and still haven't been, and frankly may never be. So, it would be nice if Hasbro could do the same with G.I. Joe, but you know, patience is something that I think everybody in this hobby should start to really try and practice. And I think that will help things reduce the stress, reduce all of that, and make it a more pleasurable collecting experience. Johnny C. Dagger, my movie cable has been delayed by Walmart. Yeah, I see stacks of cable on Instagram and in stores. Yeah, well, again, I don't know what's going on with Walmart, but Walmart seems to be delaying a lot of their online orders. My recommendation, if you happen to find it in store, then cancel your pre-order. But again, I'm sure for the most part, Walmart will get those shipped out to you. So just be patient. Dr. 5000 asks, can I confirm if the Rogue and Gambit will be available online? People are saying in store only. Do you have contacts you can ask? I I don't. I would take anybody saying they know it's in store only. I would take that as a grain of salt. But I can't. I don't have. I mean, Hasbro hasn't said. Hasbro certainly hasn't said it's in store only, and I've not seen any other Marvel Legend that they've done as an in store only. So it would be very odd if it's in store only. I think maybe people are reacting to the fact that it hasn't been listed online already, but but I can't say 100%. If I hear something, I will certainly update you guys. But at this point, I would count on it showing up online at some point. Because, like I said, I've yet to see a Marvel Legend item only offered in stores, never online at Target. So that would be a first. Blake again with a huge donation. Thanks, man. Uh, Showing some more support. Thanks for the awesome job, Jay. Keep the live streams coming. I will, Blake, man. I think Blake's a millionaire. I appreciate it, man. That's you're awesome, dude. Rojo. I see almost every Marvel Legend now that I sold my collection. Laugh out loud. Still have a terrible time finding Black Series and some GI Joe classifieds. Actually, I haven't found it too difficult to find the most Black Series stuff. Again, um, more so online than at physical stores. But now there are some exceptions with the exclusives and stuff. Some of the exclusive, like that Walmart wave. I mean, which I was able to I only pre-ordered the Darth Maul looking Mandalorian. I didn't pre-order the others just because I wasn't as interested in the others. If I see them on shelves, I may pick them up, but if I don't, I already have the Ahsoka from the Rebels TV series, and that one's good enough for me. And the the Clone Trooper with the Ahsoka helmet is okay. Again, if I saw it on shelves, I'd probably pick it up, but I'm not dying to have it. And the other Mandalorian, I don't know, it just was kind of boring looking to me. I mean, it was accurate to how it appeared in the show, but it was just kind of boring to me, so I didn't pre-order that one either. But but I mean, it was hard to believe that they actually made that entire wave a Walmart exclusive. And I know people even today still ask that if that's true or not. But according to Hasbro, at least, it is. They've said that it is. Sorry, I hit a button and screwed up my screen. But Hasbro has said that that is Walmart exclusive. Like the McFarlane. Like if you follow the DC multiverse stuff, those DC metal figures, Walmart actually, when they put those up on their website, actually claim them as Walmart exclusives. They use the word exclusive. They said these are our exclusives. And then shortly afterward, McFarlane quietly let it be known that those would be available everywhere else at a later date. But with Hasbro, they are saying, I mean, I won't, I never say never with any of this stuff. Nothing is absolute with any of this stuff. But as of right now, Walmart or Hasbro is saying that those clone figures are only going to be made available at Walmart, which I think is ridiculous. But there you go. Pirates Customs asking what can he do, but I missed your question about what you can do about what. Did I miss a? Okay, want to make sure I didn't miss another super chat. Toys are great and Nick Nasty. Says Roundhead K2000. Gary Saban says agree with JayC. Just wait. Nearly all Hasbro Marvel Legend waves since they returned 2004 are on sale. They're like if I've watched a lot of these figures on Amazon, and like a lot of them do end up going on discount, at least temporarily. But you get some rare exceptions that actually go up. But yeah, I mean, same thing with the Star Wars Black Series stuff. A lot of those figures you find actually end up getting discounted on Amazon. Um, there's actually a few that I passed, like I saw at Target, and I passed because I was like, you know what, I can get those on Amazon a couple dollars cheaper. It's just sometimes, you think maybe one is going to be, you wait for it to go on discount and then it doesn't, so you get caught by surprise. Like, for instance, I passed on the Shang-Chi figure a few different times, and then it never went down on price and started going up on price. So, I mean, you can still get this at cost at like Big Bad Toy Store, but but this was like one where I was like I passed on it because I was hoping it was going to go down in price, and then ended up going up in price. And I decided I waffled for a while. I was like, do I really need it? Shang-Chi's kind of a cool character, but he's not one of my favorite. And then I was like, yeah, I'll go on and get it. So I paid, a couple extra bucks, but nothing major. Let's see. Steve is Thanks, Steve, for the couple of gallons of gas, the $5 donation, 4.99 donation. Appreciate it, man. Yeah. Let's see. Moto Figs says only a few of the Black Series stuff are hard to get. Yeah, I agree. Like, and it's generally stuff like Mandalorian figures. Those seem to be hot right now. Though I suspect that that'll taper off, especially as we start getting more Mando stuff. Which I think starting tomorrow we'll definitely be seeing more Mando stuff. But but more often than not, the Black Series stuff is pretty easy to get and often at discount. Like all those retro Black Series retro carded figures. I've seen all of those on discount on Amazon, uh, and pretty easily available on even places like Target and stuff. Like I've held off on getting like Bespin Han Solo is my favorite version of Han Solo. So, and Bespin Luke is also my favorite version of Luke from Empire Strikes Back. So I have obviously the original figures Hasbro did, but I haven't yet gotten the retro ones. But I've seen them on discount a few times, and probably will end up picking those up. I mean, the faces are a little improved, but not so much drastically so. Bear says Shang-Chi train quick kick, so I definitely want that fig. Oh, he looks like Quick Kick, but I don't think there's any connection between G.I. Joe's Quick Kick and Shang-Chi, unless that's something new that they. Yeah, I don't like the only figure I. So this is the third figure from this wave that I got. I got the Vulture. I definitely I got day one, and then recently when it went on discount, I got the White Rabbit figure, and then finally got this one. I had no interest in those video game Spider-Man figures or the Doc Ock figure. This So I didn't get and the build a figure wasn't big enough for me to worth getting those figures. Yeah, see, right, the Bespin Han on the vintage card back is, I've seen it pretty low as well. Even like I was like surprised, even like the X-wing or not X-wing, but Snowspeeder Luke and the Rebel Soldier. I expected those to. I was surprised when I saw those on discount on Amazon at one point. Um, of course, also the other thing about those figures is they get re-released. All those figures are released multiple times. They get released in the regular packaging and then the vintage packaging. I mean, the thing about Star Wars is Hasbro's gotten really bad just re-releasing the same figures over and over again. So I really feel like they kind of flooded the line with reissues recently. Bear says, I guess he's referring to Shang-Chi training Quick Kick as old G.I. Joe comic lore. I don't remember. I mean, I'll take your word for it, but I don't remember ever there being a correlation between Quick Kick and Shang-Chi in the comics. And I mean, G.I. Joe did appear in the Marvel comics. Like they appeared in Secret Wars 2 to be exact. Obviously Marvel used to do G.I. Joe comics, but actual Joes appeared in actual Marvel stories. It was Spider-Man when the Beyonder turned the building gold and they called G.I. Joe in to move the gold. But I don't remember ever there being something about Quick Kick training or Shang-Chi training Quick Kick. Pirate Custom says I bought a Storm Shadow 2 pack on that has two right legs, so half of it. Like, okay, I'm not sure what 2 pack he's referring to, but sorry if you had problems with that, man. YFC asks if I have Toy Biz Marvel Legends. Yes, I have pretty much all the Toy Biz Marvel Legends. Some are in better shape than others, but and all of them are opened. Well, no, that's not true. I do have a few that are in the package, but yes, I started collecting Marvel Legends back when Toy Biz first started Marvel Legends, so I've been collecting Marvel Legends since day one of the line. So uh, the only time I didn't collect Marvel Legends, and where my biggest hole in my Marvel Legend collection is when Hasbro first took over the license. I started collecting the Hasbro stuff, but it really just got really bad. And at that point, and like we started getting Walmart exclusive wave, like I have very few of that Walmart exclusive wave with the Red Hulk and some of that stuff. So at that point, I stopped collecting a lot of the Marvel Legends. So my collection is very spotty during those early Hasbro days because I just thought those figures were so crappy that I lost interest. And then as Hasbro started to improve, then it brought me back into the line, and I've been pretty steady collector of the line ever since. But I have the original Spider-Man classic figures, those first wave of Spider-Man figures, which were really the precursor to Marvel Legends. I bought those when they originally came out. I still have the Man Spider. I have all of the loose figures, but I think somewhere I packed away I have the Man Spider, and a few of the others, like there was the KB exclusive Scarlet Spider. I think I still have that one in the package somewhere. Um, but yeah, I've been collecting. I really started collecting Marvel figures with the 5 inch Toy Biz stuff, and really never stopped at that point. And I still have most of those 5 inch Toy Biz figures too. Again, most of them are loose, like in a box, but IE says he headed to Walmart at 7 a.m. this morning, and there was 7 others already there. We're all there for the new Black Series. I went to my Walmart because I'd been seeing people finding that wave. So I mean, I went to Target yesterday to buy some groceries, but the Target and the Walmart are right next to each other. So whenever I go up to that corner, I just hit both stores just to see what they have. I never really expect to find anything, but I'm like, I'm here. I'll check and see what they have. And, I'd known that people had been finding that wave this week. So I was like, maybe I'll find it. I, again, wasn't expecting to. And of course I didn't. They didn't have any Black Series on the shelf. But and then I went over the other Target, which is not that far away, just to see if they had any turtle stuff. Because I was somewhat hoping, maybe, again, not really expecting, but hope, a minor sliver of hope that maybe they would have the Triceraton. After it didn't go up for pre-order yesterday or on Friday, I was like, let me just run to my Targets and see if they by some chance have them. And of course they didn't, but I did at Walmart. See, and this is where the cross selling, this is why these stores love to have their stuff in the Walmarts and Target. So I went into Walmart looking to see if they'd have those Black Series figures. Didn't find those at all. But what I did find was that Walmart exclusive Transformer G1 blaster figure. So that one, I wasn't intending to buy it, but I saw it there on the shelves and it just kind of called to me. So I ended up picking that one up. But and again, that's why they love to have their stuff in the shelves, because even when you don't find what you're looking for, they're hoping that you see something else that you might not normally like. If that had just been online and it is available on the Walmart website, I would have never bought it just straight off online. It was a whim purchase. I just happened to see it, so I grabbed it, And again, that's why these stores are so desperate to have their stuff in the Walmarts and the Targets, or the manufacturers, I should say, are so desperate to have their stuff in the Walmarts and the Targets, because while you're going into Target to look for turtles, you may not find that. You probably won't find the turtles, but they're hoping you'll see those Gremlins and those Godzilla figures, and that you're enough of a fan that you'll be enticed to buy something. Jerry says they'd be back. My Target's got a dozen Storm and Thunderbird 2 packs. I have not seen that set in my either of my two stores. I think they at one point they have gotten them in stock, but I haven't seen them myself. But again, I believe they're pretty readily available online. And you get free with the Target. You know, if you spend over $35, you get free shipping. And so Everett asked, "Do I think the Mirage Turtles by Neca will be released again?" I don't know if they'll release the exact same turtles, but yes, Randy has recently said that they're looking to do as a specialty line Mirage Turtle stuff. So I don't know if they'll do new sculpts or if they'll just re-release the exact ones that they did previously, but I definitely would expect Mirage stuff. You know, like they did that Shredder figure through Loot Crate this year, so something along those lines. Stephen Brent says, "Please read this comment." Okay. CM Brock one. People complained about the GameStop exclusive turtles, but they were easy to get, more easier to get than the Walmart stuff. Yeah, the thing that sucked about GameStop is they started jacking the prices up on their own stuff. You know, with that second wave of movie turtle stuff, you know, they jacked up the prices and even tried to jack it up on people who had pre-ordered them at the original price, and NECA had to actually step in and say you can't do that. Action figure expert, play hello of a drug P I love. Okay, I don't know what that. X says the worst is Target. See, I don't. I think the worst for exclusives is probably Walmart overall. Target is the worst for online, at least recently, because they do nothing to stop the scalper bots. But at least with Target, and this can be bad and good, but oftentimes, based on my own personal experience with Target exclusives, is if you can get to them before they're actually put out on shelves, if you can get a stock employee to go in and bring them out from the back, then you have an easier time of getting them. Whereas Walmart employees refuse to ever do that. They'll just tell you they're not there. And I've never found a helpful Walmart employee who will help you try and get something. So that makes, in my opinion, the Target stuff a little bit easier to find in physical stores than Walmart. And my Target's probably stocked just a hair better than my. I only have one. I have at least two Targets in the area, and then only one Walmart in the area, and the Walmart is the worst. So I that's another reason. But I have noticed that Walmart has done a little better job seemingly of keeping stuff online longer. So I don't know if they've implemented something. Now with Walmart, the other thing is, you know, recently they've been delaying a lot of their orders. Sometimes their shipping is horrible. You know, I've heard a lot of complaints about their shipping. So, you know, they all kind of suck, to be absolutely honest. But if I had just had to pick the absolute worst place to have an exclusive, then I would probably say Walmart over Target. Club asks what my favorite toy line of all time is. It's definitely a draw between my favorite. I don't know if I can say one is, you know, a favorite over another, but Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers, and Marvel are my tops. And I would say Marvel right now, Marvel Legends and GI Joe Classified are probably my two favorite. But it varies at times and stuff. Well, and Amazon's been delaying a lot of orders too, so I think delays are I think we have to give some slack on the delay parts because I think a lot of that is due to COVID and stuff. So I try not to get too upset when things get delayed. Frankie V says he was able to get 4 Cobra Troopers in the morning. I assume he's talking about the Target one. I could have gotten 6 Cobra Troopers because I was able to get them at my local Target when they first came out. I was able to get the person to bring out the case, which had six, but I only grabbed two and left the remaining. Actually, that's not even true. I grabbed one initially, and then when I came back to the store like 2 days later, there was a Cobra Trooper sitting in, like, it wasn't out on the shelf, but it was in their little cart thing that they sometimes roll around where they're restocking. And so I said, I'll take another one because I wanted two, but I wasn't going to be a greedy asshole and buy all six, even though I could have. Yes, Salome has returned. All right, well, gone over a little bit for my time, but I think we're going to call it a wraps here today, but I do appreciate all you guys tuning in. And, again, I always love talking with you guys and hearing your guys' feedback. Again, tomorrow, Monday, it's probably going to be a pretty big Star Wars news day. So, any news we'll have up on Jedi Insider. I don't know if I don't know when I'll do my next news video, but definitely I'm expecting some decent Star Wars reveals tomorrow. We might get an official announcement on that Cyborg Spider-Man figure. We'll have to wait and see. But hopefully, we'll get some, and who know, I'm sure we'll get a new date on that Triceraton Rodney 2-pack from Neca when it's going to be available. Maybe it'll be tomorrow when it actually goes up for sale. Again, we'll just have to wait and see. But definitely be talking to you guys again soon here. Again, thanks for everybody who checked it out. As always, like the video once it becomes a regular video, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification. Stay safe out there, guys. Happy collecting, and I'll catch you guys later.